Hey, y'all, it's K-Lynne. Welcome back to Flippin' for Change. I thought, now that the holidays are over, I still have my tree up. Yes, I'm one of those that leaves it up until after the new year. I thought I would do an end of the year, I don't know, like bangers and bombs video. So I have my laptop ready. I don't know how to do all that fancy stuff where I can like put myself on the screen and share the laptop screen with you. So I'm just going to point my camera to the laptop and you'll hear me talking, but you won't be able to see me, which is why you're seeing me now. And then maybe you'll see me again at the end. I don't know. We'll see. But yeah, so we're just going to do just a really quick little well, I can't promise quick because y'all know I like to gab, but we're just going to do a end of year wrap up as we finish out 2025 and look forward to 2026. Hopefully with some better bangers and not some bombs. We're going to see how this works with me just holding the phone in front of the laptop. I do have a little cheat sheet over here beside me, so if you hear paper rustling, that is me looking at my notes to get financial information for y'all. Very basic stuff tonight, but I just thought it would be fun to just take a look at some of the bangers and some of the bombs. I didn't have very many. I had a very, very low sales year. I did not have a very good fourth quarter, but my December was fairly decent for me. But throughout the year, I did have 5 kind of notable sales, whether that would be financial or just something that I thought was kind of neat. So we'll start off here with these vintage Oshkosh overalls. These were toddler bubble overalls with little embroidered hearts all over and these cute little heart-shaped buttons, a little pink bow. And these were vintage, made in the USA, and they sold for $53. The buyer was all in at $59.95, so just under that $60 mark. And my earnings were $41.58. The earnings that I'm going to be talking about throughout the video are the earnings after eBay fees, after eBay sales tax was taken out, after the shipping was paid. That is not going to be my profit, because out of that $41.58, I still have to factor in my cost of goods, my shipping materials, my time, and taxes, my personal taxes. So these are just the earnings after all of the eBay fees have been taken out. What do we have next? Oh, the Swarovski. So my stepmom gave me a whole bunch of Swarovski figures that she was wanting to purge from her collection. She was going through, just kind of downsizing a little bit, and gave me a bag full of them. So this was one of the better ones that sold as far as price in 2025. She gave these to me June of 2024. They've been listed about a year, and I think I'm down to, oh goodness, I can't remember how many she gave me, but I'm going to say at least 10, and I think I'm down to 1 or 2. Actually, she may have given me even more than 10 now that I think about it, but I'm just down to the last 1 or 2 after this one. This is a Swan family. It was with all of its original packaging, the original box. The box did have damage. I do always like to make my second picture any issue that there is with the item that's being sold. So here is the Swan family, mama and Swan babies. They are usually gray when they are born, and then their feathers turn white over time. So that is why they look discolored. That is intentional. And our little Swarovski Swan family sold for $54.40. That was on a sale promotion that I had at the time. And the buyer was all in at $64.21. My earnings after everything was $42.16 on the Swarovski Swan family. Next, we have these oh so precious little songbird trinket boxes. This particular buyer only wanted the larger box. So they sent me a message and said, hey, I'm interested in just the larger box. Would you be willing to separate them? So basically what I did, I just took all of our messaging was within the eBay platform, and I kept all of that and made sure when the buyer made the purchase, I sent a message stating, as we discussed, this is for the larger box only. And that way I figured if anything came back later, because you just never know, but I would have the messages within eBay from that buyer saying that they only wanted the larger box. And she actually messaged after she received the larger one that she absolutely loved it. It was perfect for what she was wanting it for, and she was very happy. So she paid $61.72 just for the larger box. She was all in with shipping and taxes at $72.67. And then after eBay removed all of their fees, my earnings were $52.27. And next up is a Poshmark sale. This is I'm probably going to butcher the name, Tamar Mogendorf, who is a designer out of New York. It's just a little velvet. Well, it wasn't little. It was a pretty decent size. Let me see if I can find. Yeah. So approximately 8 by 8, which is a fairly decent size. And it was very, very, very good quality. You could just tell. There was no squishmallow like squishing this thing. It was very, very firm and solid. So very, very tightly packed with whatever the film material was. But it's just a pearl with eyelashes. I have no idea why, but that is what it is. And somebody paid $75 for it. So Poshmark, they take 20%. That is all that comes out of that. So I received $60 after this sale. And if you ever find any of this particular person's stuff, you may want to take a little bit better look. So there is that name and the label on this plush. And yeah, so $75 for a pearl velvet throw pillow, 8 by 8 pearl velvet throw pillow. Very interesting. Our last banger sale for 2025 are the anthropomorphic Vienna, Austria bronze frog figures. So this was a frog orchestra of 11 pieces. And I had seen these where they would label them as cold painted, and they did have a little more, like some of them maybe had on a vest, well, painted on a vest or some pants or something like that. So I wasn't sure if under all of this patina, that's what these were, or if they were painted to be this color. This has been so long ago that the options to look at other pictures are no longer available for us. But there was under the piano, I could see one spot that you could see the bronze through. So I felt like this was all probably patina. Why they're all so dark, and I didn't want to touch that. I thought somebody either is going to love them as they are, or maybe they'll take the time if they really want to see whether they are cold painted or not, or if they really wanted that bronze to shine, they can take the time to do that themselves. I didn't really want to attempt that. These were all in a baggie at Goodwill, and at the time they were pretty high at $675, if I remember, $625 or $675 for the baggie of all of them. And that was several years ago when I first got them. And I was like, oh gosh, I don't know. That seems like a lot to take a chance. Because back then things were still relatively inexpensive. Now I would pick them up and not even give a second thought, because in my area now, that would be very cheap. But back then it was considered kind of expensive. So I put them back on the shelf. I walked around the store and I kept thinking about them, and I kept thinking about them, and I kept thinking about them. And I was just so intrigued by these little metal frog figures all playing instruments. So I walked back over and they were right where I had left them. And I said, okay, I took that as a sign that I needed to grab them. So I don't mind that, I ended up only taking a $200 offer when I only paid $675 at most for them. But anyway, buyer was all in at 232.09, and my earnings were 173.25. So not too terribly shabby on that one. So those were just a few of the bangers for 2025, and now we're going to look at some of the bombs. And we're going to start out with Again's Webkins. You'll see a theme in our 3 bombs to our Webkins. Spoiler alert. This is a Littlekins elephant plush. He was new with his code. Back when I first picked this guy up, I actually had purchased a huge lot of about, I'm going to say 18 to 24 Webkins. So some had codes, some didn't. I'd say only about maybe half of them have sold over the years. So I still have quite a few left, but I have run over the last year and a half, I've probably run 50 to 75% off sales on my plush 3 or 4 times because they take up a lot of room. I do love them so much. I have had so much fun selling them over the years, but plush sales certainly are not now what they used to be on eBay. And I really, as y'all know, am trying to go more into clothing and accessories and get away from the hard goods and things like the plush. So this did go on a 75% off sale. Someone paid 3 whole big buckaroonies for this. They were all in $7.80, and I brought in a whopping $1.74 for the earnings on this little Webkins elephant. Then we have these double 9 Wholesome dominoes. These were vintage. If I had to guess, I would say maybe from the 60s or 70s. They were not dated, unfortunately. But these, goodness gracious, I think I've had these in my store for, I'm going to say at least 4 years, probably 3 to 4 years. So these sold also for $3. I don't even remember if they went on a clearance sale or if somebody sent me an offer. I honestly could not tell you. I very well could have sent someone else an offer on them for $3. I just wanted them gone. So the buyer was all in at $10.22. My earnings were a whopping $1.34. And now the biggest bomb of 2025, another Webkins. So another Gans Littlekins Webkins, Tomato the Clownfish. That is his name, Tomato. And again, this one went on a 75% off clearance sale. He sold for $2. That buyer was all in at $6.79. And my earnings were a whopping 90 cents. Yes, 90 cents for this little guy. That is what I brought in. So obviously lost money on him more than likely. I don't really, he was part of that big buyout of Gans, or the big buy that I had of Gans. I don't honestly remember what I paid per piece, but if I had, well, honestly, if I had to guess, it was probably less than 90 cents. So let's just say I probably broke even on him, but that was my worst sale of 2025. I hope you all enjoyed our little look back at 2025, our little trip down memory lane for what my bangers and my bombs were for the year. I am really hoping to have much better numbers next year. I don't know. I lost sight a few times this year of just everything, just trying to, I did this in the summer of 2025, I did that big sourcing trip, and then I came back and I was really focused on just honing down and getting rid of stuff. And I did quite a bit of photographing so that I could kind of bank up listings. But I've done, if I had to give percentages, I would say I was probably 70% recycling listings, 30% new stuff, like new inventory to my my eBay store. When I take images, when I take listings down, I go through and I remove every listing every 90 days from all platforms. So I go in Vindu, I sort it by stalest, I look to see what's 90 days old, all of those get removed. And then I wait some time before I put those back up. So I'll kind of mix some recycled stuff. I call it recycled. They're just old listings that I've taken down. I'll change the cover photo, I'll revamp the title, revamp the listing, revamp the price, whatever I need to do. Some things come down and never get relisted. They get redonated. But I do that every 90 days. I do it daily for everything that was listed 90 days ago. So it's not like just every 90 days I'm sitting down to that task. It is a daily task that I do. And I am hoping in 2026, one of the things I want to get is I would like to be more, instead of like 70% recycling stuff, 30% brand new stuff, I would like to see that 70% new stuff going, not new with tags. When I say brand new, I mean like new to my store, new inventory that I've brought in, and 30% recycling old things. I would like to be continuing to whittle away at the hard goods, continuing to whittle away at like the plush. I'm really, really hoping to find somebody who would be interested in doing a bulk buyout of all of my plush. I did an inventory today and I'm sitting on about 375 pieces. And I would say, give or take, probably 100 of those are not listed and 50 to 75 are Disney, which I should have listed because they don't go for much, but those are for sure bread and butter ones, right? But I'm just done. I used to love plush. I had so much. There was a time where I was probably 90% a plush seller, like 90% plush, 10% everything else. But it's just not what it used to be 5 or 6 years ago. So anyway, I'm getting into a whole rant of other things that I didn't want to get into tonight. So that was our trip down memory lane. I hope everyone had a wonderful holiday season. I hope you're all winding down your 2025, getting ready and ramped up for your 2026. I want to say personally a great big thank you, and I love y'all so big for sticking with me in 2025. I am super inconsistent. I do my reselling part-time and I do my YouTube part-time. So I thank you guys from the bottom of my heart for all of you who have stuck with me, for all of you that comment regularly, that like, that share, all of you that have subscribed, remained subscribed, even through all of my periods of time where no new videos got up for months and months and months. Thank you so, so much. You guys truly mean the world to me. I always say I'm going to try to do better. I always do try to do better. I do what I can, but I do have fun. I do enjoy it. And I really do just love y'all and thank y'all so much from the bottom of my heart. Have a wonderful, wonderful new year. And I'll see y'all in 2026. Bye, y'all.